Well, that was actually a pretty good use of my Sunday afternoon. And given where we started the day, that actually means something because this did not get off to a good start. This looked like the game that might finally break the back of the fan base. This looked like the game that might finally motivate some real change. This looked like the game that might finally get people to realize just how far we've fallen. And then suddenly it wasn't. So, hey, I don't feel bad that I spent my Sunday afternoon watching that. Not just because you won. I mean, we won, obviously. We beat the 49ers, a division rival who I hate. I love derailing the 49ers season. I love making it harder for them to make the playoffs. I love knowing that Russell Wilson continues to own the Niners. I love knowing that Pete Carroll continues to own Kyle Shanahan, even if he owns nobody else. I like these things. But that was actually, for the most part, an entertaining game. And while I think the Seahawks left a lot of things out there on the field today, especially on offense, and I think that this is a game that they could have won by multiple scores, with the game being well over by the midway point of the fourth quarter, hey, it's a win. And it was entertaining. Sometimes entertaining for the wrong reasons, but I will take what I can get. Now, that is all well and good. I'm happy that I didn't feel like I wasted my time this afternoon. I'm happy I didn't want a refund for the time like I did in some of our previous games where I just felt like there was nothing going on even worth watching. But as for the rest of this, as for the stuff that matters, the stuff that actually might have some sort of meaningful impact going forward, we're going to have to talk about that too before the end of this video. But I don't totally know how to feel about some of this offense right now because today, look, the start was bad. The start was awful. The start was everything that we've been seeing for the past several weeks. But then it was good. That second quarter and most of the third quarter, that was good. That was promising. That makes me feel like, hey, maybe more of this stuff is salvageable than I thought. And we got 5 games left after this one. We're going to find out a lot more as the games go by. But for this one game, I was kind of seeing it. And that means more than even this win. All right, so the team was so up and down throughout this game that it's hard to know how to really talk about it, right? Because the team comes out and they're obviously in we know nothing matters now mode because they go for a fake punt on 4th and 7 deep in their own territory. And we get the best highlight of the season so far. And that's saying something because the Rasheem Green thing last week was pretty cool, but hey, I will take a 73-yard touchdown run on a special teams play. Like, we need stuff like that right now, just to keep us engaged, just to keep us interested in what's going on. And I really appreciate the fact that clearly Carroll realizes that the party's pretty much over. I think mathematically it's not over yet, but he understands that, hey, we can mess around. We can do weird stuff. We can run trick plays. We can do fake punts. We can do this. We can do that because who cares? And I like that. I wish we had adopted a little bit more of that attitude early on. But that also belies the fact that at the start of this game, the offense was just as bad as it was against Washington, Green Bay, Arizona. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Oh my God, we finally got a first down. You check your watch, and it's like I've been watching this game for an hour, and we have 1 first down. So it was just looking like the same old stuff. The offensive line has deteriorated completely. Like, some people think that our offensive line is that bad in every game we play. It's not, but today it was as bad as some people think it is. That was atrocious. And everything kind of flipped when Jake Curhan got in there for Kyle Fuller. It wasn't great. We still had problems, but at least I felt like it was competent. And whoever thought it would be a good idea to play Kyle Fuller over Jake Curhan based off what we saw today, seriously, get the hell out of here. Okay, we know what Kyle Fuller is. We've seen enough of him. I've seen enough of that guy. The fact that he wasn't benched last week is a joke. The fact that it took you this long to bench him is a joke. And I'm happy that Jake Curhan got out there and looked semi-competent, and we might actually have a little bit of a solution going forward here. But the fact that it took this long, the fact that you're playing Kyle Fuller, the fact that you're putting Phil Haynes on the inactive list so you can play Kyle Fuller, it's like, what are we doing during practice during the week? Do we not practice? Does Pete have no idea who the best players are on this team? Why did it take this long? Nevertheless, it got fixed, and the offense looked good, looked competent. Wilson overthrew Metcalf on a couple of throws where Metcalf beat his man one-on-one. Wilson just couldn't put it on him, which is obviously frustrating, but he looked good. He was getting the ball out quick. He was taking checkdowns. He was, for the most part, looking like he was starting to figure out this offense. He was starting to adapt his game to this offense. And there was still a lot of the stuff that we know works well with Wilson, right? Like the throwing it outside the hashes. A bunch of people were talking in Discord about this. One thing that seemed like it really helped was when we started basing our offense around a lot of stuff outside the hashes. Now, that's where I'm going to get into some of the questions I have about this game. But it had some success. It wasn't perfect. Wilson did take a very dubious sack from Dwayne Brown just getting beat in that third quarter or fourth quarter like a redheaded stepchild, and then Wilson just doesn't feel the pressure at all and actually just goes backwards instead of forwards. But regardless, the offense actually looked pretty good. Play calling got better. Wilson's play within the play calling got better. I was like, okay. This is making me believe that this isn't salvageable. This can be fixed. That Wilson's game can be repaired. That Wilson can work within this rhythm and timing-based offense. And it would have been an amazing game, like 30-plus points against a decent defense, if not for the man who apparently bet the 49ers money line, Gerald Everett. And I could go on for an hour in this video about Gerald Everett, but dude. Look, I pride myself on believing that all NFL players are entitled to a bad game, but you are a tight end who got targeted like what? 6 times in this game? Let's actually look here real quick. Yeah, you got targeted 6 times in this game, and you were solely responsible for 3 turnovers. Go sit down. I don't want to see you again. I take back all the good stuff I said about Gerald Everett. Like, I got to stop saying nice things about these damn players, because these players, I say nice things about them, and then they go do that. I got to just be mean all the time. I got to be negative all the time, I guess, because they don't respond well to praise. These players do not respond well to praise. Like, 3 turnovers from a tight end in one game where you got targeted 6 times. Get out of here. Look, it's never going to be great with the offensive line not being able to execute the way that I think that these coaches would like them to execute. We have a slow, old offensive line that can't really move, that can't really make blocks outside. So a lot of the outside zone stuff that I think that guys like Waldron and Dickerson want to do, they can't do with these guys. So there's a real mismatch of talent and scheme there, I guess. So it's not going to be good, and it's getting worse. But I saw some signs of life from this offense, and that's the most important thing. Now, is it is it actually a sign of things progressing the way we need it to? Or is it a band-aid? Did we just go back to the stuff that Wilson was able to do before? That I don't know. Because a lot of our success today was on plays that went outside the hashes, to the outside of the field, near the boundaries. The Lockett touchdown, the Eskridge touchdown, etc. A lot of this stuff was outside. At some point, you're going to have to start making plays over the middle. And we saw a little bit of that today. I think Lockett had a nice pop pass over the middle from Wilson. We saw some things, but my question is this going to be like a Band-Aid, which is what the Schottenheimer era was? The Schottenheimer era was a 2.5-year-long Band-Aid where they just let Wilson be Wilson, and instead of trying to get him to progress his game to the next level and become a great all-around quarterback mentally as well as physically, then I'm not interested in that. Not in a season like this where your playoff hopes are pretty much shot. So if this is actually a sign that the Wilson-Waldron combo can actually make this work, that Wilson can actually change his game, then that was really encouraging, and I hope I see more of it over the next 5 games because, again, I am willing to change the way I'm looking at things from week to week. Going into this game, I was very pessimistic about Wilson being able to change his game up as need be. But right now, after that game, I'm like, okay, let's see what you got going forward. And that's the most important thing right now. That's way more important than this team just winning a game. And I liked winning the game. I wanted to win the game. I hate the Niners. I hate their fans. I wanted to put a damper in their playoff hopes. I wanted to remind them for one more week that we own you. 16-4 in the Russell Wilson era. 16-4. Defense. Look, thank the Lord for Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, I'ma buy your jersey. That dude is some ass. And this game on defense, we got off to a rough start. Kittle abused us. Ayuk had a nice catch at a couple nice catches in this game. No pressure, just no pressure whatsoever. We got one sack. By the way, hey, Dunlap, I hope you don't think you earned $10 million today, but he did play a good game, man. He made 2 big plays that helped us win this game. Without him, we don't win. But I hope Carlos Dunlap doesn't think he just earned $10 million today, because he did not. But other than him, there was very little pressure. I saw a little bit from Taylor as well. There were a couple plays where someone like Rasheem Green or LJ Collier would get in just a hair too late, and Jimmy would make a throw down the field. But what did I say? What have I been saying for a while now? You got to start taking the game over with your turnovers, and the defense did that. 2 picks. They had a couple almost turnovers as well, like the fumble right before the Niners almost crossed midfield in the third quarter. That barely got called back because his knee was down. You forced a fumble on special teams. Yeah. Look, if the defense didn't play a perfectly clean game, that first half was one of the worst halves the defense has played in some time. Like, I would go back to maybe the Vikings game to find a half of football as bad as the first half. But you took over the game with turnovers. And that's how you win. So it's still got problems. Like, the lack of pressure is a killer. Any competent quarterback would have made way more hay than Jimmy G did against that lack of pressure. Both interceptions that he throws are just atrocious passes that I would expect any half-decent starting QB in the league to be able to not make. Overthrowing Kittle by 5 yards right to Diggs. Completely missing Bobby Wagner sliding in over the middle. Like, props to Jimmy G, but we made the turnovers, man. We actually made the turnover, and I don't know what's up with Jamal. He obviously left the game, didn't come back. Hope he's fine. We need him out there. I think that 97-yard drive that almost cost us this game at the end, a lot of it could be put on him not being out there. The tackling got a little sloppy there, and whatever you can say about Jamal Adams, he is usually a sure tackler. Love to have him out there in that situation. Yeah, I don't know. The defense didn't allow a point in the second half. Like, I can mess with that. And they overpowered the Niners through forcing some turnovers. Like no, it was 2 turnovers in the second half. And look, they have problems, but at least they're finally doing some of these things that I was talking about. Happy for Bobby. He finally gets his hands on the ball, finally brings in a turnover. It's been almost 2 calendar years. Welcome back to the turnover category, Bobby. Cool to see that, even though, obviously, that kind of stuff doesn't really matter right now. Happy for Dunlap to have his, I guess, one good game this season, which I guess I'll take it, but yeah, it really doesn't matter now. A lot of these things that I'm talking about, they were cool. I appreciate it. But what matters is what we saw from the offense today. You had a tight end single-handedly take at least 10, possibly 14 points off the board. And you still put up 21 points. You had other good drives that got snuffed out because, frankly, the offensive line for a lot of today was Tom Cable-ish. That was Tom Cable-esque for a lot of this game. Like we come out early in that game and we're just throwing endless bubble screens, and people were asking, why do we just run these dumb bubble screens? They don't go anywhere. And then when we try to run anything else, the offensive line gets their brakes beaten off, and it's like, oh, okay, that's why we're running bubble screens. It settled down a little bit. I saw Stone Forsythe got into the game a little bit, so good for him. I don't know how he did. I'll have to take a look at that. But it was good to see him out there. I know Shell got hurt. I don't know how serious it is, but if it is serious, we're going to see a decent amount of Stone. And yeah, I'm trying to figure it out right now, guys. What do you think? The offensive performance today, where, I mean, it wasn't efficient, but you saw Wilson start to do some of the stuff that he needs to do in this offense. You saw a lot of short stuff getting completed. You saw a lot of these things that we were told would happen in this offense. Do you think that Wilson is starting to figure this out? Do you think he's starting to get acclimated to this offense? Or is this just a bandaid? Let me know what you guys think down below. We'll be streaming during the second half of the Sunday Night Football game. See you guys there. Peace out. Go Hawks. Happy to beat the Niners. Happy to try to ruin their season. Happy to get a win at home. Happy to give the home crowd something to be happy about, because early in that second quarter, the only thing keeping me from turning the game off was the fact that I got to make this video. I'm not even kidding. And I was thinking to myself, I can't believe people paid to go watch this game, but something clicked. Something clicked. Was it real or was it fake? We'll talk about it later.